Hello and welcome to everyone joining us on our second of three live chats and sessions on this exams week, which is normally across two, of course, with A levels and GCSEs, but they've come together, and we're delighted to be able to help you, no matter if you've received results. It might be your child, it might be someone you know. Explain a bit about what to do next, what the options are, and there's many incredible options on what you can do after getting your results. So that's why we're here today. We'll get to the nuts and bolts of the processes and things that can happen as we go through this half-hour live video. But first of all, I'd like to welcome my two guests that we have this morning for our rural land-based colleges. And let me first say hello to Darren Evans, our head of Bicton College. Hello, Darren, how are you?
Hi, Jamie. Yeah, good, thank you.
Good stuff. And we're also joined by Jamie Chris, head of Duchy Stoke Clemson.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. Okay, so what we're doing this next half an hour, we are going to be talking about our land-based provision and what we do within the Cornwall College Group across Devon and Cornwall, which is plenty, and there's lots to get stuck into. But first of all, can I say a huge congratulations to everyone who has got their GCSE results today on behalf of the Cornwall College Group. No matter how they went for you, the fact that you've gone through that process, a really hard thing to do, and you've come away with an outcome is just superb. So well done on behalf of everyone. And I think the important thing to stress here is that whether you've got your results, which is brilliant, well done, you can move on to your what you want to do next, or whether maybe it didn't quite happen for you this time. Don't worry at all. There's plenty of chances whereby you can look at those again. We can get you where you need to be. We can get you on a course that you will love. It's not just about having to go on to education. It's about loving your education. I think that's something that that we do across our campuses very, very well indeed. So Darren, let's start with you. What's it like up in Bicton College? What's the experience like for anyone who's joining us?
Well, first of all, the campus is absolutely amazing. And if you've ever been to Bicton College before, it's a wow experience just coming up the driveway, and it's a fantastic place to learn. The facilities we've got and the staff as well, they're all experts in all their fields, and is a really great experience. And also the kind of the social aspect of the college as well is really good. There's lots to do, lots of activities to do outside of the teaching, so to make it a whole experience as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, absolutely, Darren. I mean, Bicton College is stunning. I mean, most people go there and think it's a National Trust property, but I mean, Jamie, certainly not in the shadows at all with Stoke Clemson, just set in the most beautiful valleys with the most beautiful views in North Cornwall.
Yeah, absolutely. 660 acres, Jamie, of beautiful Cornish countryside. 60 acres of that is the actual campus itself, and the remainder is the farm. Very similar to Darren's response, really. You know, we've got some amazing staff here who are very passionate about what they do. Their upskilling is done on a day-to-day basis, so they are, you know, they're ahead of the game in terms of the changes to industry specifications or qualifications. Full suite of land-based qualifications here, and general further education for students to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're not going to ignore some of our other campuses that we have that fall within our land-based provision as well. We've got the wonderful and beautiful Rosewarne campus just outside of Camborne, further down in Cornwall, with just some wonderful courses that can be done there. We have our Newquay campus as well, which is predominantly HE, but with some FE in there as well. And also we have our links with Eden Project and our Eden Project Learning Campus as well. And let's not forget golf as well, with the wonderful things that they do. But let's talk about then, we're talking about the group as a whole here. The Cornwall College Group and Bicton and Duchy as part of that, it's gone on a real journey, hasn't it? And it's an incredibly exciting time, I'd say, for the learners. Darren, can you just give a sense of what's been going on in the background in terms of Ofsted and investment and things like that?
Yeah, there's been great investment on all our sites, and that's just continuing as well. So that's a massive change over the last few years. Certainly, and Jamie, I'm sure, will talk about it more about his future farm projects. but certainly capital investment on the sites and making sure that the facilities are up to standard and beyond is really, really great. In terms of the quality of education, that has significantly improved over the last couple of years, and it's still improving, every day. It's really fantastic place to work, and the future looks really bright.
Absolutely, and I think that's the important thing, is it's investment in that student experience. We have our values, and learner first is the key one there, and it's about them coming to us no matter what level of study they're doing, and then achieving and careers. And we are the career college, aren't we? That's what we call ourselves, Jamie. It's not just a buzzword though. The careers and getting people onto rewarding, changing their lives basically with what they change to do. It's essential, isn't it?
Absolutely. Every single qualification we run, every single course, whether it's level 1, 2, 3 and going into higher education, as I said earlier on, have subject specialists. They've all come from the industry background that we're selling. They upskill themselves regularly. The facility we have allows us to create those environments that learners would expect when they go into the career of their choosing. And in the main, majority of those learners that come onto a qualification with us will go into that industry that we're training them for, whether that's in equitation, whether that's in the military and protective services, whether it's for a sporting background. Clearly, agriculture and land and environment is a key part to that. Those learners who don't go into that industry will probably coming back to us to continue with the further studies, whether that's a higher level or going on to do an apprenticeship or a degree qualification. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think what we need to do is let's talk about a typical scenario that we've got right now happening it's happening across the country, but let's make it specific to down in the southwest. We're going to have lots of people getting their GCSE results, and please, anyone watching this, please share this link now, so anyone might be getting their results, or maybe know someone who is, please share it so more people can get the information they need to make a balanced choice. Now, people, they've gone through school, they've studied through school, might have maybe they don't like being in the classroom necessarily all day, looking being told what to do. We do have very hands-on courses, don't we? People are out and about doing things that they might not even have ever considered doing before. What would you say, Jamie, to a parent who's kind of like, I assumed they'd just be going off and doing A-levels. What would you say to them to consider in terms of whether joining us in doing a more hands-on sort of course?
I think what they need to understand is that a student will be joining us on what's called a program of study, and so it's a whole wraparound, holistic approach to their time with us, whether that's a year or 2 years. The elements of that are made up of tutorial sessions to support them through pastoral or through the academic side of it. Clearly, every single learner will have to have classroom delivery. That's part and parcel of education. But added on to that, there is work experience that they should be doing, whether that's in-house or externally. Some courses will have mandatory work experience. The practical element you talked about is absolutely built in through every single qualification we do, and probably makes up 40% of the qualification itself. And if you take agriculture, for instance, the realms of different practical elements attached to that, whether that's handling livestock, whether that's fixing fences, whether it's working on tractors, etc., it goes on and on and on. So the overarching wraparound element of program of study is huge. Let's not forget, English and maths, whether they need to continue studying that, is still an integral part of learning. That way, the way that we would contextualize English and maths through the practical and vocational settings that they're on.
Absolutely, and I'd say, Darren, that this is an incredibly exciting time to be ahead of a campus, especially within sort of the land-based rural areas, because not only is climate a huge issue right now, we're delivering courses that will train people to be the future leaders of these areas in affecting change that has massive impact on the areas that we live. We're also seeing, coming from government, an increased focus on vocational qualifications, because it's all very well being in the classroom having the theory, but what employers want and what everyone needs is someone who can go into those jobs and understand what the work environment looks like. I mean, that's definitely what's happening up at Bicton, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, as Jamie said, we don't spend all our time in the classroom. Our campus is our classroom, and our sites and beyond as well. So, our learners learn on the farm, on a working farm here. We've got, an amazing equine kind of centre and an animal centre, and even beyond that. And the learners work there, and they'll do their vocational studies, and they'll go into a classroom, but actually they'll take that outside and they'll experience what they're doing. And by the time they finish, they're work ready. And employers work with us on kind of looking at the intent of the program. Are we making people into future farmers? Are we looking at different parts of what Jamie might be doing it at Duchy Stoke would be different to what we would do in Bicton potentially, because of the different types of farming, or at the kind of the animal things. And we work in quite close partnership as well to ensure that we're ahead of the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's the thing, isn't it, Jamie? It's if we'll have parents watching this, and we'll have teachers watching this, and it's kind of what we're asking, I guess, people to do is that to keep an open mind as to what the next steps after GCSEs can be. Because I mean, I know from just personal experience of walking around the campus when we have people in, we have people visit us. And if you are interested in any of our campuses, please look at our website and find out when you can, or just call us and we'll arrange a time for you to come in and see what we do. But they do ask that question of, will they be able to go on to university by doing that? And the fact that I think it's something, it's well over a quarter of university attendees now have done it through non-A-level routes, which is having a quarter of all people at university do that. That shows the strength of how well these are regarded, and increasingly regarded as well. But what would you say to that parent who's kind of saying, well, and this is the classic one, and as a parent myself, we all want to know, how are you looking after my child or my ward, whoever it might be? What are you doing? Because they've safe school environment, or seemingly, or they've known it for years, and then suddenly they're on a campus, a college campus. It's a different experience, and it's a justified question, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Going back slightly, we have high expectations of ourselves as staff. We obviously have high expectations of our learners, and so the first thing I would say to any parent or any student coming to us, whether they're coming from a very low, from a starting point at level 1, for instance, is actually you could be with us for the next 5-6 years. Now, we've had learners who've come to us on a level 1 provision, who have gone through further education, then moved into higher education and walked away with a BSc honours. So having high expectations is the first thing we want everyone to achieve, and achieve far greater than what they think they can do. In terms of coming to a campus and moving that from a school environment, the wraparound support that's here, first and foremost, your study program manager, the person who you'll see on a day-to-day basis, is there for you in every aspect of your journey. But we also have a huge amount of staff who are available to support, whether it's through pastoral, finances, helping with CVs, helping you to consider what your next career steps might be, whether that's our experienced officers or senior learning managers or apprenticeship advisors. There is always somebody to go to and talk to. And Darren and myself have open door policies, and we'll be around the campus on a regular basis, talking to parents, talking to students, talking to employers, to make sure that the experiences those learners have on our campuses are absolutely fundamentally brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a question come through, and this is a very common question. And as someone who absolutely struggled with maths myself, it's one I want to see up on this screen now. So Tracy Ann is asking, my daughter didn't quite get her maths result. Sorry, she didn't quite get it, but what support is there? And that's the good news. There's plenty. Can she retake? And Darren, can you take this one on?
Absolutely, yeah. So learners depending on what the results are with maths and English, if they didn't get their grade 4, they'll come back and they'll do maths and English with us. If they want to upskill or get a better result, there's absolutely a chance or an option to retake GCSEs or even functional skills in maths and English as well. So there's lots of support. So on a weekly basis, they'll have English or maths lessons, and there's individual one-to-one support available from study tutors as well, which can take place throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Jamie, you may want to add to this as well. But what I mean, Tracy Ann, I can tell you as well that what we do is we even look at the type of maths exam that they're taking, because there are different options available. What might work for some person in terms of the way questions are phrased, for instance, with a particular exam board, there might be an alternative option whereby it's done in a slightly different way. And this year alone, Jamie, I think it might have been someone on your campus, it might have been yours, Darren, but we had someone who'd taken their maths 5 times, I think it was, and they came with us and they got their result and they were just over the moon, and it's an absolute game changer for them. So in that sense, Tracy, we'll do everything that we can to get people the results and the qualifications they need to move on to that next stage of whatever it might be that they want to do. We've got a question from Demi here, who is, when do we get the results for our courses? So you can access, if you go to our website, so whether that's cornwall.ac.uk, duchy.ac.uk, bicton.ac.uk, and there's a link there in terms of getting your results. So please follow that through route. If there's any issues though, please don't hesitate to give us a call or get in contact, and we will get those results for you. If someone does have a question, let's go through that. And they're not so sure, you're more than welcome, Demi. If they're not so sure about what they want to do, that's the classic. I thought I knew what I wanted to do at perhaps 15 and quickly realized I didn't. What are some of the things that young people should be keeping in mind before they make their decision of what they want to do next? I'll throw that out to you, Jamie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First and foremost, is speak to us. We've got, as I said, huge specialism here. Our study tutors, our managers are all available via telephone, via social media, to have a conversation around what your skill sets are, what is it you're passionate about. And we've also got to understand that things change, okay, and how do we adapt and how do we change to make sure that the qualification and the course that you're doing, your career aspirations are there. We've got a multitude of open events that happen across the course of the year that you can attend. Obviously, through COVID, they've been on computers and the rest of it. But we're now going back to face-to-face open events. We need to also consider what things that are coming through social media, our Facebook sites, or websites, etc., are there for us. But also, I think at this moment in time, just pick up the phone, talk to us directly. If you're talking to someone around equine, for instance, and it turns out that actually that's not probably what you want to do, by the end of the conversation, they'll direct you straight on to someone from the animal care team or from the agricultural team or sports or outdoor education.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Darren, the thing is as well, we think of college, some people think of their local college and they'll go to their local college because it's nearby. And we have colleges, we have 10 campuses across Devon and Cornwall, so we do have one close by, more than likely. But the thing is, we do have specialisms, and we do. So for instance, we've already talked about Newquay having, it's a very small campus, very much HE focused in terms of what it's doing, and it's different to what you're doing at Bicton. Then we have our general further education campuses in St Austell and Camborne, which do completely different things again. But one stereotype, I guess, is when we talk GCSEs, everyone's mind is 15-year-olds and what they're doing. But we have plenty of adults taking GCSEs within our own group. And also we have, hopefully, it inspires people to realise that, education's changed. It's changed massively. Someone who may be older now, they may be at the end of one career and they're looking for something else. It may be that they've been having a different time of their life and that they're looking to, or thinking about, maybe I'd like to get back into education. Now, we do all manner of things, don't we? It's we do vocational courses for all ages. We have part-time courses. We have night school. We have access to HE courses. I think there's an important message to get out, isn't there? That education is for anyone at any time in their life, isn't it? Darren, would you agree?
Absolutely. We never stop learning, do we? And the amount of calls I'm getting now, and the teams are getting now, are from people that want to change careers or have had a break in their career for whatever reason, and deciding, actually, I want to be an arboricultural tree surgeon, or they want to work, want to go into the military, and want to do a course with us, or whatever. There's never a wrong time to come into education, and there's never a time where you can't change. So it's there's some great opportunities, really.
And I mean, we've got our part-time brochure, which has just been launched as well. So I mean, that's just the perfect way to just go, you know what, during lockdown or whenever it might have been, or over the last couple of years, I really got into X, Y, and Z. Maybe try that a bit further, whether it's just one night a week for 6 weeks, whether it's on a Saturday once in a while. And that's the wonderful thing about all of this, because of all the courses and how they're aligned. If they do enjoy that and they want to take it further, they can explore going on to the next stage and maybe getting a certification. And then, actually, you know what, I feel like I could do this. Because I think this is the other thing, isn't it, Jamie? It's not a case of you're going to be sat in a classroom 5 days a week all day long. There's some incredibly flexible delivery whereby we've got parents of large families who holding down a couple of jobs, and they're still managing to come with us. And within the year, they're either applying to university because they've got the access course that they've needed, or they've switched career. They're now on an apprenticeship with a company, and they've changed their lives. And it really is. And to see their faces when that happens, and their life's on a completely new course, it's so rewarding. And the wonderful thing to know, isn't it, Jamie? They're a phone call away from making that happen, or at least exploring it.
Yeah, totally. We've seen some really good examples through this year. So we've had Access for Nursing running for this last year, and I'm already seeing some of those individuals who are now going to work for the NHS, in some really good roles. And what better time to go into nursing? We've had, you talked about adults and the short courses, but we have adult community learning, in which, in all intents and purposes, is free. And they are short, they're bite-sized. They could be an hour, they could be 2 hours, they could be introductories. But I've seen individuals, for instance, come in to do introductory to tractor driving. They've then gone on to go onto a ticketed qualification to actually get their tractor driver licensing. We do some really ad hoc stuff like beekeeping. You talked about sustainability and regenerative platforms. There's a lot of that coming through at the moment for adult community learning that adults are taking on, really getting a passion for, and then moving on to a fully funded qualification afterwards.
Absolutely. And I think it adds to the whole feeling on our campuses. And the campuses, they are different. They do have different feels. But one of the wonderful thing is that we're having everything from 14-year-olds who are doing vocational courses outside of their school work, because they learn better that way, and we can facilitate that, which is wonderful. Right up to sort of 70 plus year olds who are following a passion, and boat building at Falmouth. I mean, there's people who've retired, they've had their career, but they're like, I've always wanted to learn to boat, so they're doing it. And that creates a really lovely feel on our campuses, that we're basically just centers for people to learn, no matter what the reason is that they want to learn. Let's bring it back now to our the core GCSE standards. So the majority still are younger learners who are now deciding whether to go on to A levels, go on to do a vocational course. Are they looking at an apprenticeship? They've got to choose something up to the age of 18. Easy. If you were saying to a student now why they should come to Bicton, Darren, what would be 2 or 3 of the key points of why they should consider going to your beautiful campus? See, I've taken that one from you already. It is beautiful. That's a given.
It is, yeah, you're right, yeah. And then again, we've got something for everyone on the campus. So whether you want to be work with horses, whether you want to work with animals, whether you're keen on countryside management, horticulture, forestry, military academy. There's lots of things there. And again, we mentioned it earlier, the experience of the staff and their own vocational experience within those industries is fantastic. Again, at all courses at all levels, so level 1 all the way to level 3, then degree. We even have entry level courses as well in our foundation learning departments. So if GCSEs didn't work out at all, we've got that stepping stone that people can look at in our kind of our skills pathway, or a kind of a supported internship where they learn about working, and they'll be directly involved with employers and get that real experience to get in a career. And actually that's what we're here for. So we're here we are the career college, and we want and we aim and we do get people into their careers that they choose.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamie, it would be remiss of me not to touch upon the fact that we've had a record rise in applications, which I think is testament to the hard work of the staff and the quality of what people are experiencing, and the fact that I think the offering now really resonates with people in terms of, this is a path that we'd like to go in. And I know at Stoke Clemson in particular, you've got a busy year ahead of you with the numbers of students who are realising the power and what can be achieved by attending a land-based college.
No, absolutely. It's the second year that we've had huge numbers coming through, and it's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. But it comes back to one of the questions you asked at the very start, which is around the government's drive around agricultural bills, the climate change issues we've got. People are talking around sustainable farming, regenerative farming, etc., and learners and students in schools have been coming through their last 2-3 years with Greta Thunberg and what she's been doing, and we're having more learners coming to us on land-based campuses who've never come from an agricultural background or an equine background, or an animal care background, because they care, they're passionate about, they want to make change over the next 15 years. And land-based provision is really key to it in terms of that golden thread. The education that we're going to give these learners is going to allow us to be able to reduce our carbon footprint going forwards. It's going to allow us to think about what is available in our hands to change. And the learners we see coming into a land-based campus, they're actually really entrepreneurial, because when you think about the different roles that they're expected to go into, they are so varied. If you take a farm, for instance, they need to know about health and their livestock and the welfare of those animals. They need to understand about the pH levels of their soil. They need to understand about crop. They had to have strong knowledge around maths and English. They've got a really good process where they're thinking about the construction on their farms 24/7. Agricultural engineering runs through their blood. They are entrepreneurial. They have to think on their feet about how they might have to diversify every single year, thinking about the things that they should be doing in terms of capital investment, or what natural capital they have on their actual farmland. So that there are so many things that happen on these campuses that are absolutely fundamental in terms of the land and the environment and the custodians of the landscape.
Absolutely, I think that's brilliantly put, Jamie, and I think it's a neat point on which to probably wrap this half hour up. We have got another session at 1 o'clock, which is around our GFEs. So that's Camborne and St Austell and Falmouth Marine School. But this has been about our land-based provision, and I think you summed it up beautifully, which is basically, if anyone's interested in being part of the environmental revolution, as it were, and to be able to have careers that are going to see them into the next it's the new world of jobs, isn't it? And it's the new category of what it's looking at. They need to get in touch with us. So what I will do is say thank you very much, Darren. Thank you very much, Jamie, for joining us. We would ask anyone who's watching to just please share this, because it will remain as a video that you can use and share with anyone you might think's interested in hearing more about what we do. And ultimately, congratulations on whatever the outcome for you today was. But please just get in touch, have a think, because there are options available that you might never have considered that could be exactly what you're looking for. So have a lovely evening, everyone, and hopefully lots of celebrations across both Devon and Cornwall, and we'll look forward to seeing you all soon, hopefully.
Take care.